Well, it's Thursday, which means it's time for the most motivating segment in all of sports. It's the Bud List. It's also time where we read some viewer mail. You know, for the year 2023, we get a tremendous amount of physical mail, and we are always willing to address your comments and concerns.
Always. We will always be willing to address
We will
them.
always be able to do that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Forever.
That's a good
I like it.
I can only do it, however, with my RLM. Excuse me, LRM, letter reading music. There it is, thank you.
RLM would have worked. Reading letter music would have worked as well.
That's not what it's called.
You would have been, okay, I was just trying to help.
Dear Wilds, love the show. Thank you. A parenting tip from the mother of twins. I'm guessing this is Dawn again. Sometimes Ryan claims he was the first to do something. Other times Brian claims he was the first. I say you both were first and we move on. Perhaps that strategy will solve your feud with Broussard about who picked Denver. Thanks. Go. Well done.
You know what? I'll go with that. We both picked Denver.
Dawn, agree to disagree. I picked Denver. Broussard hopped along in the 24th hour. So
Well done. Thank you for the letter. Yes. All right.
On to the Bud List.
At number 3, this was a tough one. Joel Embiid almost made it. DeAndre Hopkins, who might end up in Tennessee.
No.
With Ryan Tannehill, possibly.
Treylon Burks don't even want it.
He almost made it too, but I'm going to stick with basketball and go Damian Lillard.
Oh.
Dame Dollar. Now look, Dame, I admire your loyalty. I actually admire the loyalty of the Blazers as well. And I admire your disdain for going somewhere and forming a super team. But there's a happy medium, okay? If you really love the Blazers, you just think about it. It's better for them to move on. Trade you, get some assets to build with their young players. And then just because you move on to a better situation that can win a championship, doesn't mean you have to go to a super team. If he went to Philadelphia, nobody called that a super team. Boston for Jaylen Brown, nobody would call that a super team. There are other places as well. So Dame, otherwise, you will stay in Portland and play out the rest of your next several years, not in complete anonymity because you're still a great player and going to average about 30, but relative anonymity. When it comes May and June, you'll be an afterthought. And we're talking about all these other guards and Steph still and Jamal Murray's rising up and who knows else. So Dame, it's up to you. I'll leave you with the words of Kevin Garnett. He didn't want to leave. That's close. He didn't want to leave Boston just like you don't want to leave Portland. But when he went to Boston, won a ring, made another finals, he said, my only regret for my entire 20-year career is that I didn't go to Boston earlier. Dame, if you go somewhere else, Portland will send you to a contender. You will love it. Trust the brother. All right, at number 2, Michael Porter Jr. Yes, I know you got the victory yesterday. And look, you've been struggling. Let's just keep it real. You're shooting 26% overall, and you're shooting not even 16% from 3. Okay, and to top it all off, you got benched, as Wild said yesterday. You only played 21 minutes, your lowest of the postseason. And the replacement, Christian Brown, got busy. 15 points, 15 huge points for you guys to pull out the win. Here's what I want to say to you, MPJ. I know you're young, you're 24, you want to be a star, okay? And you got the max contract. Here's the thing, relax. Your time will come. Whatever they called on you to do, just go out there and do it. Keep shooting because that's what you do. Do the best you can defensively, stay locked in, and rebound. You're averaging almost 9 rebounds a game in these playoffs. So don't fret about minutes. If Brown plays more than you, so be it. You're still young. You got your money. You don't have to worry about that. You're signed through 2027. Your time will come, young man. So stay with the right attitude. Team first. It's all about the ring. At number 1, Nick, I'm going to help your guy out. Hemi buckets. Hemi buckets, yes. Look, I'm going to be honest. And Jimmy won't like this, but you're not under that much duress because nobody thinks you guys going to win anyway.
Well,
I mean, other than Nick. And, you know. He picked Philly and Dallas. So anyway,
This guy.
no, I mean,
This guy is unbelievable.
Pressure is all about
Philly swept the
expectations.
Nets.
Pressure is all about expectations, and not much is expected of you. You already are getting major league love for just getting your team here. So, 2 rebounds yesterday. Yeah, we want more from you, but I'm not going to kill you for that. I'm just saying, basketball immortality awaits you. Basketball immortality is within your grasp, okay? And by that I mean you would be the first player ever to lead a play-in team to the NBA title. You would be the first player ever to lead an 8th seed to the NBA title. You would become the player face of Heat culture. You would become the player that, I'd say even over Giannis and Steph and those guys who put an end to the player-generated super team that ironically started in Miami. And you would be the architect back on the court of the most improbable NBA championship ever. Jimmy, I picked Denver, but I do believe in you individually. Go out there and ball.
That was good. That was a great Bud list, as always. Well, as lately. When you first started doing it, they weren't that good. Wilds had to pare it down from 5 to 3. It's got a lot better.
He got jealous.
One note. You know who Michael Porter Jr. could take a page out of, whose book he could take a page out of? Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma,
I like that.
when they won the title in L.A., understood my role here is not the role I want it to be eventually, but I will figure out what needs to be done alongside these 2 stars to help us win. He hadn't even gotten paid yet and did it. Michael Porter Jr.'s already gotten paid.
Great point.
I'm going to put a different 7-footer, Porter's almost 7 feet, on the Bud list, and that is Kevin Durant.
Oh, wow.
So, sometimes we ask, what era would this guy be the best in? Durant evidently maybe needed to be in an era where there were less 7-foot-tall players from overseas coming to wreck his plans. Because he goes out east, and Giannis is there waiting. And he goes out west, and Jokic seems to be there waiting. And he is now in a position where the Suns team that was not good enough, even close to good enough, in my opinion, this year, might be worse next year. With a coach that many people believe is worse than the coach they got rid of. A point guard, if they don't bring Chris Paul back, that will be worse than the point guard he signed up with. And he will be turning 35 years old before the season starts. We have seen Kevin Durant play 11 postseason minutes after round 2 in the last 5 postseasons. We have not gotten to see the Slim Reaper on the biggest playoff stages do what we all know he still can do. And I know you don't want it to be easy for him, Brew. You want him to go through it. I don't want it to be as easy as it was in Golden State either. I thought that was bad for basketball. But I don't want it to be impossible. And I do wonder if right now it is, depending on what Phoenix does this offseason, going to border on impossible. Really? Because I don't know that Devin Booker will ever play better than he played this postseason. He was unbelievable. Durant can play a little bit better, but they weren't that close to being where they needed to be. So I'm concerned for Kevin Durant that a series of bad choices as far as what team and what teammates he wants is going to deprive us of seeing him on this stage again. So to me, that's why he's
look.
under
That's a great. Everything you said is on the money. Here's the thing, and I don't feel like they were the second best team in basketball, even in the West. But
they beat
it is
Denver
possible.
Twice.
Yeah, it is possible. We'll see what happens with Miami. That they may have given Denver the biggest challenge in the playoffs, right? So I don't think, Nick, that they're that far away. I mean, they have to have a great offseason.
Yep.
They have to be smart. I think the main thing they need is depth. Because you got 2 outstanding scorers. And so I think, and Frank Vogel, one thing he does well, coach defense.
Sure.
So he's going to ratchet them up on that side.
All right, one final addition. I'm putting Tyler Herro and his bucket hats on the Bud list. Now, this is not an indictment. This is just pure motivation and really a hope that Tyler Herro will feel better so we can see him in this finals. A narrative that's not around, Brew, hey, we lost our second best scorer. When that happens to any other team, it is the main storyline. Wow, you're doing it without Tyler Herro. So Tyler Herro has been practicing. Before game 2, he's out here dribbling. Before game 3, he's warming up as a big teaser. That one doesn't look that athletic, but some of the other ones do. And then today, he's out dribbling again with a little wrap on his hand there. You see it. Starting to look pretty good. So I want to see him play with the one caveat here. And I heard Paul Pierce say this when he sat down with Garnett. And I'll pose the question to you. Are you worried at all, Brew, that if Tyler Herro comes back, and he's been out since the Milwaukee series, that he actually messes up the flow? Even with Heat culture, they're like, man, now you're taking away shots from Caleb and other guys.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's something in the back of their minds with the thought. First of all, he obviously is a great shooter. He's their best three-point shooter, but he's not a good defender. And so the guys that they've put in work much harder on that end of the floor. That's the first thing you got to be concerned with. Because they're like, we're shooting the three well anyway, for the most part. Secondly, Vincent, Strus, Martin, they're playing freer probably than they would with Tyler there because there's nobody else to put in. Their minutes are set no matter how much they're hitting the shot. So they can play freer and probably better. I'm not saying you don't want him back. It's just a tough balance to swing.
Get him in there. Last time he played Denver, 26, 10, and 5. Could have used that last time.
The last
What do you think
gap
about it?
this long for a guy to come back and then play in the finals was Boogie Cousins with the Warriors. If you remember, he got injured in the first playoff game for them, first or second playoff game, and then he did play a tiny, tiny bit in the finals. There's not a lot of precedent for someone missing 7 weeks and then coming back in the finals.
Remember Jameer Nelson?
Yeah.
They put him in for Skip to Malou
Yeah.
for Austin, and it kind of messed up the chemistry of the Magic back in 2009.
That's a great Bud list. Fantastic job.
And that's what Paul was asking? I couldn't quite decipher it. What? You did it better.
What was he asking?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.